Hello, welcome to Friends International Guildford. We've got our bi-weekly Let's Talk About, and it's good to have you. Hopefully, the one person viewing, welcome. We're going to be talking about Christmas traditions. We being myself, Phil, and Lily, who's the centre team lead here in Guildford, and we're going to just have a conversation for the next half an hour about different Christmas traditions. If you're looking at the chat, you'll see there's a couple of Christmas traditions already there. I wonder, we'll leave those questions there. Maybe if you are watching, feel free to comment your answer to those two traditions. So we have, which country has a tradition to eat KFC every Christmas Eve? And which country hides a man doing a poo in their nativity scenes? So we just wanted to have a conversation with a funny word in it. So we're gonna enjoy that. So put it in the comments who you think, which countries you think do those two traditions. We might share a couple of other traditions as we go through this evening. So. What is interesting about traditions is they always have a story which starts off in some form of truth, and we're going to explore those truths. Some of those truths are just fairly mundane, like it's food and people wanted a turkey. We'll look at some of them. But also there's some that are a little bit more religious. Some are a little bit more interesting, like why we have trees in our houses. So we're going to look at them. Lily and I are going to take moments to share these traditions. Maybe if you've got, as I said right at the start, if you've got a tradition that you think is interesting, feel free to put it in the comments. If you think our facts are wrong, feel free to comment as well. We may be wrong. You never know.
Yes.
So we're going to start off with the less controversial Christmas traditions, which is food. So before we go into some British food, Lily, what food traditions do you have, given that you're not technically British, though you've been in Britain for a while?
I'm not technically, and not British at all. Not technically. I'm not British. I'm German.
Married into British.
yes, married to a British man, to a Welsh man. But actually, in Germany, I think it really depends on the area where you're from. I know my dad's family, what they would traditionally eat on Christmas Eve, which is kind of the important day, although the other 2 days are quite important as well, but we get our presents on Christmas Eve, is potato salad and sausages. Just something really simple to make, and then they would have like roast dinners on the next 2 days. In my family, we would all get our favorite food. So it would mean my parents and my older brother, they would eat probably goose or turkey. My little brother would get ribs and I would get beef. So it was always really depending on what our favorite food is and what we wanted my mum would make, which is incredible. Traditionally, in the area where I'm from, what people would eat is kind of green, and they're green because of raw potato being used. Green dumplings made out of potato, half cooked and half raw potato, as well as goose or duck, sometimes turkey as well. And then on the next few days, we would have fish or rabbit as well. So yeah, we kind of have 3 roast dinners in a row, which is fun. It's the best time of the year. Wow. And yeah, we love our food and we love our meats. My husband, when he came with me to Germany for the first Christmas, he was really surprised that there was a lot of meat on the table. Whereas in the UK, you get a lot of different vegetables. In my family, we had kind of 3 or 4 different types of meat on the table and 1 or 2 different vegetables. So yeah, different varieties. What about you, Phil?
So having grown up in different countries, turkey was generally, I think, pretty hard to come by, if I remember correctly. I don't remember that being, like, it was more about the tradition of the sort of roast. So we'd have a roast, so the roast potatoes and things like that. Traditionally as well in Papua New Guinea, where I grew up, it was warm over Christmas. So we'll talk about some of the other traditions. We tried to keep to some of them just to have family traditions. I guess now that I have my own family and have been in the UK for a while, the traditions that I've started. So we were in Aldershot for a while, and there was a really amazing butcher's just down the road. And so we made a little bit of a tradition that we would get a 3-bird roast from there. And that was turkey, duck, and I think there's chicken in there, and it was all wrapped together and a stuffing in the middle, and it was amazing. So I'm a big fan of forming your own traditions, maybe with a little bit of traditional side of things. So yeah, the roast vegetables and all that as well. So
do you have a favorite side dish that you always need to have as part of the Christmas roast dinner?
Yeah, you've got to have those roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings. Now, Yorkshire puddings are like batter, basically, and you fill them up with gravy, and they're very tasty. So they complement the meat and the veg as well. So good stuff. So that's food, but a very traditional thing that many people will have seen, and we've even got how to make these on our YouTube channel, are mince pies. So Lily, what have you learned about mince pies? Why do we have mince pies in Britain? Do they have mince pies in Germany? This is a purely British.
It is very much a British thing, and I don't like them because I don't like dried fruit. Well, I don't particularly like raisins. So I'm not a big fan of mince pies.
It's a bit of a hindrance to liking mince pies.
Yeah.
So, but what are they? Like, when you first came across mince pies, what did you think?
You mean what I thought what they are?
Yeah.
I thought they are just little cakes filled with something, which they are. Yeah. And they have different, from what I've learned, and I've only vaguely remember, they have filling, different bits of filling, which is called the minced meat. It's not minced meat, so it's not like beef or chopped pork or whatever, but it's actually dried fruit, and all the different ingredients stand for something traditionally, something from the Christmas story. What the different bits are, I can't remember, aside from raisins, which I don't like. So it's kind of already lost interest in the whole mince pie thing. Although I've seen on Instagram someone putting a bit of Stilton into the mince pie. So they took the top off, put the Stilton in, baked it for a little while, and apparently that's amazing. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of raisins. So even with Stilton, it doesn't really make it any better.
That's a shame. It is interesting, though, that from what I've researched extensively, that mincemeat did actually have meat at one point in time. So they did used to call it mincemeat, and over time it's gradually shifted to something sweet with spices and fruit and things like that. So, and that's the same for Christmas pudding as well. So some interesting, we're delving into history here.
As history experts who have been researching Christmas traditions for many years.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, we did used to have meat with sweetened stuff as well. So there was some interesting practices going back to the 13th century, which I'm sure our favorite volunteer Julian, with his knowledge, would be able to tell us all about that.
Yes, Julian, if you're watching, please feel free to comment and correct us if we are completely or if anyone watching has more experience than we have and knowledge and all sorts of advice.
What's our next tradition? What's another one?
I think the next tradition that we're looking at is one very important one. It's the tradition of Weihnachtsbäume, which is German and means Christmas trees. And I think that is something really interesting when you look at it, certainly how it came to the UK. There is a weird echo.
Is that me or you? I'll put my headphones on to stop it anyway.
Right, I'm going to continue to talk. So when you look at the history, how the Christmas trees made it into the UK, it actually came over from Germany. which is lovely. It came through Prince Albert, who was married to Queen Victoria in the 19th century, and he brought this tradition to the UK, and it became really popular because there was a picture of Queen Victoria with her children around a Christmas tree, and then everyone wanted to have one. And it actually goes back, this tradition, to way back, just to kind of as a sign to have something green in your house and to welcome life and spring and the sign of life into your home at Christmas time. So that's why we have the Christmas tree. It's basically all down to the Germans. Hooray for the Germans.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of having real Christmas trees at home, just because it smells so nice. But this year, I'm afraid I went down the fake road, just because I have a son who is tiny, well, who is 2, and he loves to kick the tree, and he loves to kick the baubles on the tree as well, which is so annoying. But we thought it's safer to go for the fake tree instead of a real tree. So yeah, my German heart bleeds a little bit, and I'm very sad. But what about your tree? I've seen your tree in the background of a Zoom call.
Yeah, I didn't get it set up for this one, unfortunately. I just realised we look very un-Christmassy to be talking about Christmas traditions. I haven't even got my Christmas jumper on. It's a bit... Sorry, guys, watching.
I can show some Christmas sweets.
I think those are fast becoming my favourite Christmas sweets. And Tina's, actually. We're a big fan of those. So... we might have to talk about those in a bit. Make me hungry. So Christmas trees. So we do generally go for the fake Christmas tree simply because it's easy and we don't have to buy another one. But true story about the last Christmas tree that I bought, which was a real one. I ended up buying a dog at the same time. So
that's not traditionally what would happen in the UK, just to make that clear.
No, it's not a tradition. That was a bit of the place that was selling Christmas trees was also selling German Shepherd puppies. And we bought a dog, slightly spur of the moment. And my wife continually reminds me I caught her at a low point where she thought something fluffy would make her feel better. And we have a dog. So that's the story. Yes, about 5-6 years ago, we got a dog who's now very big and not as cute and fluffy as he was, but he's still fun. Anyway, that's a true Christmas story from us.
There we go. But moving on from the Christmas trees, there's also the tradition that we give each other gifts. Where does that come from?
Yeah, so this is my research from gift giving. It is a bit of a strange one. It seems to come from potentially Roman festival of Saturnalia, but that might be disputed by others. And Saturnalia was a little bit extravagant, a little bit rude at times, and Christians in Rome didn't particularly fancy partaking in this festival and decided that actually they would like to give better gifts. But it might also stem from the Christian story of Christmas, which we'll share a little bit more on in a minute. But the Christian story is that these men came to visit the baby Jesus, and they brought gifts. And so a Christmas tradition from that is to bring gifts to your Christmas. So it's a little bit debated as to who brings the gifts, but that kind of naturally goes into this tradition of Santa Claus, the gift giver. So do you have a German tradition of Saint Nick? Because Santa Claus, Saint Nick, there's various different names throughout Europe and throughout the world. What do you call Santa Claus?
Well, we have two different things here. So we have Nikolaustag, which is the 6th of December, which we celebrate. And that is actually when the real Saint Nicholas died. He died on the 6th of December, way back 300 something. And so in Germany, we celebrate that. And we celebrate that by cleaning our shoes and putting them in front of the door. And then in the next so that is on the 5th in the evening, and the next morning something nice is in there. Often it's oranges. Well, traditionally it would be oranges and nuts and stuff. These days is something more like a book or something small, a little gift, like a little bit probably like the stocking fillers actually.
Okay.
Now that I talk about it. And then on Christmas, we have, depending on your tradition, it's either the Christ child, so baby Jesus coming to bring presents, or is Father Christmas as well. And he usually has a little helper called, and again, depending on where you're from, Knecht Ruprecht, who hits, and he is quite nasty to the nasty children and the naughty ones. But actually, coming back to St. Nick and St. Nicholas, he was a bishop in Myra in Greece, ancient Greece. And he is said to have helped a lot of people, especially there is the story that he helped 3 daughters who didn't have any money and they were concerned about going into slavery, but they didn't have anything left. And St. Nicholas secretly dropped 3 bags of coins overnight through that. There is a version where it says he dropped them through the chimney and it landed on the fire and it like put it out. So there's kind of this idea of stocking and well, the thing with the chimney and then stockings is eventually kind of added to it as well. But there are a lot of miracles that he is said to have performed. So he is actually the saint of all sorts of things. And I think it's actually, he is the saint of students across Europe as well. So
really? That's a new one on me. There you go. Yeah, good old Saint Nick. He's also said to have hit someone at a major Christian council for heresy. There you go.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, fun times. I think that was the Council of Nicaea. Anyway, that's another history fact for you. You can look up Santa Claus punching another son.
That sounds very interesting.
There's actually a painting of it. It looks more like a slap in the painting rather than a punch. But anyway,
right.
Yeah. Christian arguments. Anyway, so moving on swiftly to another tradition, a Christian tradition that isn't slapping people. We don't tend to do that. I'll just put that out there. That is an unusual thing to do, or it should be an unusual thing to do. Oh dear. Anyway, so the nativity is the next one. So you might have found that in some shops, in some windows, and in some homes, if you've been fortunate enough to bubble up with someone and go into their home, you'll find these nativity scenes of a large gathering of animals, people, shepherds, angels, all around a baby. And we call these a nativity scene. Do you have a nativity scene in your home, Lily?
We do, yes. And Nathan loves to play with the sheep and the donkey. Last year he hit me with the donkey in the face. It was very painful. At the moment he loves to play with the sheep. Yeah.
We've got a theme of hitting. That's probably not a good thing.
Yes.
Oh no, that was my fault. Sorry about that. So moving on from violence. So the Christmas tradition of the nativity comes from the Christmas story. So Christmas comes from 2 terms, Mass being a Christian time of worship as opposed to the scientific measurement. So a Christian time of worship, Mass, and Christ being for Jesus. Now, Christ is based on the Greek word Christos, which is based on a Hebrew word for Messiah, which simply means Savior. So that's Jesus is it's not his surname, Christ, it's more of his job description. And so we have this story that goes around the whole birth of Jesus, who became a man. And if you're not sure about your religion, Jesus is the founder of the Christian faith. So what is this story, and why are there so many animals, angels, shepherds, and wealthy looking people around Jesus? Well, some of that nativity scene isn't actually very accurate. Now, the first one is that it's highly disputed and very unlikely that Jesus was born in a stable. he was probably born in what would have been known as maybe a guest space, not even the guest space, the front room of a Palestinian house in the first century AD. Jesus' father Joseph would have been known to the people in Bethlehem, and it was very unlikely that there was an inn at that time either. The story is getting a little bit interesting. So if you basically read the first stories of Jesus, you have this room wasn't available in, which would have been a guest room. And so instead they would have been in a front room of this house where some animals were. And if you're in first century Palestine, those animals would have been your central heating. So Jesus was born in a manger, but he was born in a house in the front room that would have heated the rest of the room. Still wasn't the best place to have your baby, but it would have been surrounded by probably some family as well. So this is an interesting take. So some of our traditions, even in church, you'll find many Christians saying that Jesus was born in a stable. You'll hear many nativity scenes about an inn. But all that comes from just studying the Greek words in the Gospels, which are the books of Jesus's birth. And you'll find some of these traditions aren't actually in those stories, but they make good scenes for homes and decorations. And so we like our traditions, but sometimes they don't quite trace back. Like Santa Claus, the big red guy with a beard, doesn't trace back to St. Nicholas. Well, the same happens with our nativity scenes. But the story of Jesus goes on. I would tell the whole story, but I'm sure you can Google it. And actually, we've got a carol that kind of tells a little bit of the story of the Nativity, which is a better voice than mine. We're going to play that for you in a moment. I think that there's a little bit of the story that I feel like I've missed out with the sheep and the wise men, but I think we can stop debunking nativity traditions because the carol's nicer. But I'm surprised we haven't had any answers yet. Before we go into the carol, we haven't had any answers to these questions. So the first question was, which country has a tradition to eat KFC every Christmas Eve? And the second one, which was a bit of a risky question to put on, but I thought it was funny. Which country hides a man doing a poo in the nativity scenes? These are important questions. I think I'm surprised no one is answering them. But you've seen the answers, Lily. So maybe we'll go for the first one.
The first one, I've come across that in quite a few different Christmas quizzes.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I knew that one. Yeah. Okay.
So shall we save the answers to the end? Maybe if we get one or two more viewers. If you're viewing this, put your comments, share the video, and let us know your answers to those two questions, and we'll save it to the end. Shall we play this carol?
Yes, totally.
That tells us the story of Bethlehem, where the nativity happened. Here we go. Oh, it's that one. Ah, there we go. We'll do the full screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of Bethlehem, how still we see the light.
silently the wondrous gift is given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of his hand. No ear may hear his coming, but in this world of sin, where meek souls will receive him, still the dear Christ enters in. Holy Child of Bethlehem, descend to us, we pray. Cast out our sin and enter in, be born in us today. We hear the Christmas angels, the great glad tidings tell. Oh, come to us, abide with us, our Lord Emmanuel. Oh, come to us, abide with us, our Lord Emmanuel. There you go. I like that. That's a good way to start coming to the end of our conversation. But there's a couple of words in there that I just think it's probably worth explaining a little bit.
Absolutely.
We've talked about the Christian story, and we've talked about Christ a little bit. What's this word sin? It's a big word, but do you have a basic explanation? Why do Christians talk about sin?
Yeah, I think sin is really anything that separates us from God. And I think often for those who believe in a God, or for those who don't, it's obviously a very different conversation. But certainly from how I understand it, is really anything where we say my will or what I want before what God wants. Whether that's something little like, actually, I'd rather just not care for this person, or it is something really, really big like war and all those heavy things and really horrible things that are happening in this world. But I think a lot of those things go back to those little decisions of, actually, I want to put myself first before other people, and that goes against what God teaches us and what we can read in the Bible, that we should love other people, that we should care for them, and it's not just about us first, but actually it's about other people as well.
Absolutely. And it is this idea of living in shame, breaking a relationship. And if we break relationship with God, it will break relationship with others. And I think that's really, really key. But it's also really interesting that with this idea of God coming down and dwelling among us, we've got this word Emmanuel, which again just means God with us. So the Christmas story is really the reason it's hope is it's because we believe God came down. It's God came down to our level, ordinary humans, and accepts everyone and wants everyone to unite around him. Everyone from the shepherds, who would have been seen as possibly not very good people to hang around, but also to those who are deemed wise and more wealthy. So the whole picture of the nativity scene, whether it's a true nativity scene or not, is a picture of God accepting all humanity, no matter how good or how bad they might be. So that's a picture of hope. It's a picture of, I quite like that picture. I think it's good news.
Too. Me too. And I think one of the things really that Christmas is for me is that hope that God is with us, that he didn't stay away as the Almighty God in doing everything. Well, he still could do everything, but that he humbled himself. He became a little baby. Everyone who's had a little baby and has been around babies, they know how helpless they are. But actually God humbling himself to become a human being, fully God but fully human, for me and you, that we know that there's hope and that we're not alone in this mess that, well, particular now, the mess that we're facing, knowing that we are not alone, but there's a God who's given up everything for you, me, for us, to be with us and to draw close is really something that gives me hope in this time when we don't know what else could give us hope.
Absolutely. And it does mean that this phrase Christmas is cancelled doesn't really mean anything, because it can't be cancelled. And actually, if you look into Christmas tradition, Christmas isn't just one day. It might be one day for giving gifts for many people, but as you said, tradition, many countries have multiple days for traditions like that. And actually, a Christian Advent season, Advent is a period of 40 days. So cancelling Christmas is fake news. On that note, let's go back to some Christmas traditions. We haven't had any answers, so maybe we can we'll just share them. We won't put them in the comments, so we won't spoil the rest of the video that when people watch it. So we've got two traditions. Let's start off with this one. Which country has tradition to eat KFC every Christmas? Lily, who is it?
It's Japan, apparently.
Japan. There you go.
I've never been to Japan around Christmas time. I've never actually asked a Japanese person if that's true, but I've read it several times, so I assume it's true. If you're Japanese and you're watching it, please do comment and either assure us or debunk this myth.
Absolutely. Please tell us we're wrong. Now, this next one is I find it quite amusing. I think the whole idea behind it is meant to be quite amusing. But there's a country that has nativity scenes that are definitely not real or built on the truth of talking about nativity stories that are built on this idea of a stable. Well, this one's quite an interesting one. There's no Christian story of a man doing a poo in the nativity scene, just to debunk that. But a country does put a man doing a poo in their nativity scene. Who did you have any idea who this was, Lily?
No, I didn't know, and I'm definitely going to ask my Spanish friend about that, and I've just given it away.
Well, your Spanish friend might not do it if they're not from Catalonia,
I don't think
northern
they are.
part of Spain, but they might. But Catalonia is the main part that apparently does this. Now, if we are wrong and you are Spanish or from Catalonia and this is false, please do let us know. And we will stop laughing at an interesting tradition that is fake. But we'd love to know. And I'll blame the quiz website that I borrowed that from.
Oh, totally.
So there we go. So that's a wrap. Thanks.
Yeah, I think there's nothing really left for us to say except for Merry Christmas. And we hope that you would experience this Christmas as a time where God comes close to you. If you'd love to find out more about Christmas or you'd love to chat more to us, then do get into contact with us via social media or the University of Surrey Chaplaincy. You can get in touch with us there as well, and we'd be very happy to explain a little bit more. But also what you can do, there are a lot of churches, certainly in Guildford, that are offering online services over the Christmas period, so just check them out online. No one knows that you're going to do that unless you want to, but check them out, check out the services, check out what they share about Christmas, because this is a message all about hope, that there's a better solution, and there is an answer to the pain that we're facing, and the main answer is God is with us. Emmanuel. Happy Christmas to you as well, Calvin. We're glad you've enjoyed it. Happy Christmas to you as well, and a happy new year.
Absolutely. And you're
Yes.
off on holiday tomorrow?
I am. I can't
You are.
wait.
So enjoy. Have a great Christmas. There'll be a few of us. If you need to email us at Friends International Guildford, we have a couple of emails. So Riz has kindly, so you can get Riz's email from our app, and she's kindly receiving emails and passing them on. We've got all the socials. There will be someone to respond if you are feeling very isolated. Chaplaincy on campus at the University of Surrey, also there, as Lily has already said.
Yeah,
So happy Christmas. Oh,
one last thing. If you're on campus and you're feeling lonely, 23rd to 28th, from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. in the evening, there are going to be chaplains, some of our volunteers, sometimes we are going to be there as well, to give out hot drinks and mince pies, the mince pies that we've just talked about. So if you want to have a chat, if you want to see someone, come and say hello. We have a lot of gifts to give out. So if you come on the 23rd or 24th or 25th, there might be a gift for you for free. So totally a reason to come along as well. But if you want to chat to someone, do come along to the Hive, say hello, grab a mince pie and a hot drink, and we'd love to meet you there and connect with you and have a chat with you. That's all.
That is all. Have a great Christmas
Merry
and
Christmas.
a very happy new year. See you in 2021, or if not, maybe a bit before, if you're in the chaplaincy.
Bye.
Bye.